Good evening. Welcome to our Facebook Live tonight. I'm Kevin Lyons. I'm the Executive Director of the Rheumatology Nurses Society, and I would like to welcome you tonight to our virtual town hall. We tonight have Carrie Beach and Linda Grinnell-Merrick with us, and we might have some other guests joining us soon. So anyways, hey Linda, hey Carrie, how you guys doing?
Good, Kevin. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. Sunny Florida. Plenty of COVID cases. We're doing good. How you doing, Carrie?
Good, really good.
Awesome. Awesome. So tonight is going to be a little bit different than our normal town hall meetings. We're still going to do some COVID updates and talk about that, but we're also talking a lot about our upcoming annual conference, and we're going to check in with everyone to see how you're doing. And we're live, and so we're also using some new technology that we're working on. So I want to, yep, Barbara's in tonight. I see you. And we're live, so this is all real. Give me 1 second.
Find where to sit here.
All right.
Sorry. So keep
I know you have to kind of line up in the middle, right?
No, push.
Cool. So Carrie's our historian, and Linda is our immediate past president, and Carrie's in Ohio. So why don't we just go around the room real quick and see how everyone's doing with COVID?
Sure. So Ohio, I didn't grab the number of cases, but we are not doing very well. Our cases have continued to kind of skyrocket. So actually, as of 6 p.m. tonight, we have a statewide mask mandate. We also have a 14-day self-quarantine if we travel to 9 different states. Yes, wow. Florida would be one of those. Thankfully, North Carolina is not. I just got back from North Carolina last week. But yeah, things are actually getting worse, unfortunately.
Yeah, I just heard in a headline this afternoon that the U.S. has hit 4 million cases, and what's scary is 1 million of those 4 million were from the past 15 days. It's like, it's insane. How about you, Linda? How's Rochester and New York doing?
I gotta tell you, New York was leading the cause, right? At the beginning of all this, we were the number one, and it's what we were in the news all the time. Our numbers have been so good. We are doing so well, especially here in our area. So I'm in the Finger Lakes area. Our numbers are very low. I mean, we've had a couple bumps, I think, as people have gone out a little bit more. They're gathering, 4th of July just happened a couple weeks ago. So we had a slight, but honestly, last week when I looked at the numbers and at the hospital, what we had we have like 5 associated hospitals with us. We have maybe 20 patients in the hospital, maybe 1 or 2 on the vent. So, that's just for one hospital system. We have another hospital system I don't have numbers for. So overall, we're doing well, but it's still strict, right? Restaurants are still, at 50% capacity, and masking is essential and all of that stuff. So I do think as the warm weather's hit, we're all wanting to do stuff and get together, and
right.
It's tough. Now it's school, right? You guys are probably, I'm sure, Carrie, you with your kids are really facing this. What are we going to do about schools this fall, whether it's, college or whatever it may be. So.
Yeah, I think we all thought that, this would be somewhat behind us by fall, and now we're faced with, I think it was almost easier in the spring when things shut down because everything shut down. We didn't have a choice, but now it seems like we're going to have a choice and have to make that choice, and it's so hard to know what to do.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
For sure.
Are they offering, like, you can do homeschool or send them to school, that type of stuff?
We haven't heard about our particular school yet. Most of them are hybrid, but you can also choose. You can choose to send them, choose not to send them. It's completely different by school district.
I'm very happy to be a grandma now, not to have kids.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'll let the younger generation worry about
deal with
this.
Hey, say hi to Barbara. She's saying hi from the Cleveland area tonight. Hey, Barbara, how you doing?
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. And then Chloe. Chloe says hi. Hey, Chloe.
Hey, Chloe.
Hey, Chloe.
Nice to see you. Yeah. So, well, I have not been on the town hall, I don't think yet, but I'm from Florida, so we're currently winning, losing or whatever it is. And it's been really interesting. If many of you, have you been to one of our conferences before, you may have heard my story. My amazing wife is a cancer survivor. She went through breast cancer last year. So she just finished up her immunotherapy the beginning of this year, and she's completely cancer-free, thank goodness, and pathology clear and all of that. She's doing great. But we had a different perspective, on how do we deal with COVID? We aren't really people to live in fear. But we were like, you know what? I don't think we're comfortable going out. So it's been kind of unique. We've been home like the entire time. And thank goodness, Lyons Den and RNS were virtual. So we're able to, adapt. It didn't really change a lot of our operation. But it's unique on anytime we go out of the house. We probably have only been out of the house maybe half a dozen times during this. But we felt very safe. You got groceries delivered and all the other things. Florida's a unique state to where there seems like there's two camps. There's the maskers and the anti-maskers, right? And, it's a unique season and time. One of the most unique things is when Vicki has to go to her follow-up appointments at Moffitt Cancer Center. There's all types of guidelines and rules in place to where, I can't go in. She has to go in by herself. And even now there's very limited waiting room, if not any waiting room. But it makes you feel, at first it felt awkward, but then it makes you feel safe as a patient, to where you're like, okay, this is okay. I can go out. And I know that many of the patients that you two care for are immunocompromised patients. And it just seems like that patient comfort and support, is a challenge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
definitely. That's one of the first things they will ask when when we call to confirm visits or whatnot, is what are your processes in place? Right. So they want to know, they want to feel comfortable.
Yeah, I make a real purpose when I go into the room, and I don't know what you all have to do. We have to wear safety goggles, wear face shield, and our mask. But I really make really so the patients see. I use the towelettes, those sanitizing towelettes. I clean out the whole desk area, my computer top, the mouse, anything, and I have them watch me sanitize my stethoscope. All of that. I get sanitize it, clean it. It's not really sanitizing it, but just so they know that I'm doing all that in front of them. So they have to question whether or not I'm doing it, behind the scenes. And we always talk, I just gotta do a little housekeeping before we get going. And they appreciate that, right? And they do appreciate that. I don't touch anyone unless they wash my hands and glove. And then take off my gloves and wash my hands again. So when I examine them, and they see me do all this, I really want them to see me do all this, that I'm doing it in front of them and not before I walk in the room, so they have to worry and question that. So yeah, you want them to feel comfortable, and they are immunocompromised. So.
Yeah, I know that our governor, one of the things that's part of his messaging narrative now is all the patients who stopped going to get things like, blood pressure or basic wellness checks and all of this, what is going to be the long-term effect of that? What's all and think about all the comorbid conditions that you two deal with that maybe are not monitored because they're not calling their doctor, they're not going to primary care. So what's going to be the impound of that over time is going to be scary.
And the news this evening before we came on, there was a pediatrician that was on, who has a private practice, and he said that they are cutting down to part-time because people aren't coming in for their well visits, right? So, that's what you generally go in for, right?
Right.
For the most part, you hope you don't have kids that are ill and that have to come in frequently, but most of that's well visits, and they're saying that their numbers are so low that they're needing to go to part-time hours, and it breaks my heart when I think of all these kids that fall behind on their vaccines and all that well child visits that are not occurring. I'm sure if that's one practice in one area here where I live, I'm sure we're same things that happen across the country, and that is scary for our future.
Yeah,
we put ours off, and not 100% intentionally, because both of my kiddos are June birthdays, so typically summer is when I take them for their wellness visits, and I actually just made them today. It kind of got away from me with everything going on, and typically though, I will say it usually takes a good couple of months before I can get them both in, and I got them both in within less than a month. So
wow.
There's something like that there. I didn't even think about that impact.
Well, even think about the visits that normally kids would have to do sports, right? Yeah. That's even happening. It was interesting. I just heard this before we came on this evening when I was getting ready. And it was just something I hadn't thought about, not being in the pediatric world. Just not something I had really focused on or thought about. My granddaughters, my daughter-in-law, my son, still I've been taking them to their visits, but not everybody's comfortable, and I think they've been brought up in the world of medicine because of me, so they do what they're supposed to do, or I yell.
Barbara gave you the updates for Ohio. Thanks, Barbara. So update Ohio under state mandatory mask effective 6 p.m. today. Cases update 1,444 deaths, 1,040. I hope that wasn't deaths. 1,444 cases, 21 deaths, 104 hospitalizations, 17 ICU submissions. So thank you, Barbara.
And that's for the whole state.
Yeah, that's for Ohio.
And you guys were doing pretty good for a while, Carrie. I don't know what happened.
We were doing really
Warm
well.
weather happened.
Everything opened up so quickly. It was like, I don't know. In my opinion, it just seemed.
I remember talking about
that. Opened, and so here we go.
Wow.
Yeah,
and it's. I also think 4th of July, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's going out. Everyone's a little stir crazy. So pretty crazy. And another unique thing happened to us that has nothing to do with human medical, but one of our cats had to go to the vet, and they had curbside service. So the whole protocol, you drive up, their person comes out to greet you, mask, gloves, and everything else, and they pick the cat up and you wait. And I was like, that's interesting.
It's weird, isn't it? Yeah.
I know. So
I
strange.
did the same thing for my dog. Got his first grooming last week or the week before. I drove up, had to call, and I got there, and they came out and got him. It was a little surreal in some ways,
Well, why don't we pivot, because we have a very important and exciting thing coming up here in the next couple of weeks, right? We've all been working super hard putting this together. The whole world pivoted back the whole world of conferences, let me say that, pivoted back a few months ago to where there's always this discussion, are we going to go live? Are we going to be virtual? Are we going to be in person? And what's my background and expertise, or some of it, is in the event space and dealing with large conferences and large events. And the industry, my industry colleagues in that space, they're like, think about the impossibility of holding a live in-person conference. So if they're social distancing 6 feet apart, all of a sudden you have a 30,000 square foot ballroom that you can't put 1,000 people in. You can put maybe 100 people in, right? Because of just the math of that. There's all types of unique circumstances that are coming out, but it's been also a perfect timing for the Rheumatology Nurses Society because we were already planning a virtual conference in Q4. And so when the board got together and decided and made that decision that we're going virtual, we really wanted to preserve a lot of the great things about conference. So like Carrie and Linda, paint a picture, right? I mean, we have to have paint a picture. And if you haven't been to one of our conferences, Paint the Picture is on Wednesday night of the week, and we have Leslie, who is an amazing artist that comes and guides us during the process of painting, and it's a social hour, and there's drinks and everything else. And so some of the other favorite things I think is all the networking that happens at our conference. The great education, even hearing the product updates from industry and pharma. And we're like, how can we pull all that together and produce a virtual conference? And I just have to say, we're doing it, and it's really exciting. I get to see behind the scenes the format of the conference, just to give you an update, because some people are like, is it going to be live? Is it really live? Is it video? What's it going to be? And we're actually doing a unique thing. We're doing pre-recorded educational sessions. They're about 20 minutes long. But we will have Q&A and a chat right next to it that you can start loading in your questions. Then we're going to come live with the presenter, and we're going to do a live Q&A with moderators. And it's going to be really dynamic to where we'll be taking your questions and answers. We're going to try and make it feel like you're a part of the conference. And I think it's going to really be amazing, the way it comes off. We have an exhibit experience, we have product theaters, and we have Paint a Picture. Which we're super excited about. And I can't
wait to see what the picture is.
We finished up the artwork today for a flyer that goes into the box, and this is also something cool that we're doing. We're doing 2 boxes that are going to be sent to attendees while supplies last, and so anyone who registers, they while supplies last. I keep saying that because we're getting a lot of registrations in. They're going to be receiving an easel, a canvas, 4 acrylic paints, and 2 brushes. So it's like their own paint a picture in a box. And it's going to be so much fun. We're going to have people taking pictures and sending in images of kind of their progression of the paint, of their painting. And we'll be popping those up on screen. And we're just going to have a lot of fun with it. So that the second box that they get is going to be the mystery conference in the box. Or we internally, because everything in rheumatology has an acronym, we call it CIAP. Right? So a conference in a box. And Linda and Carrie, you got the sneak peek at it as you help choose some of the products and things, because we won't have conference bags, but you're gonna get great things in this box. And
I love the items we chose. I just gotta say that. Just love the items we chose.
Awesome. So we're super excited about that. And so while supplies last, and we have a warehouse that we're assembling these boxes right now. All the product is looking great. And you'll have a conference journal in there. And, oh, hey, Lisa. Good to see you. Always love to hear these updates. Hey, great having you on. So we're talking tonight about, we went through some COVID things, and now we're talking about the annual conference coming up, which we're also covering COVID on the annual conference. It's not going to be all COVID, because I think we're almost COVID out, right?
Yeah, we're a little bit out on COVID.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Well, let's talk through kind of the agenda and how it's going to work. So when you register, we're going to send you information and how to get into a special website. And on that website will be basically a live stream, kind of like what you're watching now on Facebook, but it'll be a live stream with a chat window and with information around it. And basically you get to stay there on that page throughout the entire conference, and you get to watch, you get to ask Q&A and so forth. And it's almost going to be like a broadcast, if you will. So we'll start out with, Cathy Patty-Resk, our current president. We start out with her with a welcome, and then we have this amazing keynote presentation from Carolyn Jones, the American nurse. And it's, it is the year of the nurse, right? And it's like, everyone thinks, it's a year of COVID, it's a year of pandemic and everything else. It's like, no, it's the year of the nurse, right? I'm just looking for my team here. Awesome.
And the year of the nurse, what a year to be a nurse, right?
I know, right?
Yep.
Right?
Wow.
I mean, when you ladies were graduating, from nursing college, did you have any idea that you would even see a pandemic in your life?
No, I read about it in our books, maybe, right? In some of the history and whatever. I've never thought we'd live it.
Never thought this would be
that nurses played has been immense.
I know. And I think the bird flu was the last pandemic, right?
Yeah, and I don't even think that was that bad when I think back at it. There was a scare.
Right.
I came out the vaccine pretty quickly at that point, too. I was part of the vaccine studies, but.
Hey, AJ. How you doing tonight?
Hello.
So I like this because we can see them pop up. That's great.
I know, that's nice.
So let's maybe talk through some of the sessions that we have coming up. And I'm looking at a screen behind me, and it's hard to do that with the readers on. So anyway, so we have our keynote, and it's going to be amazing. And then we have 6 product theaters. And even though in their traditional conference you'll be able to eat during the product theaters, these you won't, but they will be virtual. They'll be online. One of the exciting things that Linda and Carrie, you don't even know about yet is we have a great gaming system that's being put on the website that you're going to have all types of opportunities. Like when you sit through a session, you get points. When you visit exhibitors, you get points. When you sit through a product theater, you get extra points. And it's going to be a leaderboard, and we're going to be giving away some amazing, expensive prizes this year. We've been able to save a little bit of money from our hotel costs and everything that we want to give back to you guys. So a lot of excitement there. And then Wednesday night, 8:30, we start Paint a Picture. Leslie is going to do a great job. I'm going to fiddle here just for a second because I want to show you the easel, if I can pull that up.
Oh, I thought you could show us the image.
No. The image is a secret.
Just a little tease.
Yeah.
Nope.
Like, what color will it be?
Actually, it will be using 4 colors. All right, let me see if I can pop this up live. Okay.
Oh, that is so cool.
Oh.
So this is, and we're kind of stuck behind it. So this is the easel set you're getting. You're going to get everything here except the decorations, right? The candle and the flower, that's Vicky's. That's my wife. So you're going to get the easel. You're going to get 4 paints, a paper plate, paint brushes. So anyways, it's going to be really cool to have that. And
That's so great.
It's going to be fun, right? Everyone likes getting gifts in boxes.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about some of the science of this. So we start Thursday morning with the product theater with GSK. Then we have Dr. Yazisi. Is that how you say his name? Who
sounds good to me, but I'm sure we butchered it, but that's okay for tonight.
So he is one of the leading experts on Behçet's syndrome and how it's treated today. And so that, Behçet's, how often do you guys see Behçet's?
You don't see it a lot. It's devastating when you see it.
Right. Yeah.
Devastating. And you pronounced his name better than I will, so I won't try to pronounce it. But he's written a book on Behçet's, right? He actually wrote the book, basically. So this is going to be an amazing. I can't wait to hear it. And we actually now have 1 medications approved to treat this. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of an exciting time in our time, right? In rheumatology. Yeah. COVID overshadows everything. So this is great that we can start focusing on our patients and some of their diseases. There he is.
Yeah, here he is. And so you want to take a guess at the name?
Yosef? That's all I can say.
Awesome. So then we have refreshment breaks. And what's going to be really fun is the refreshment breaks. They're sponsored by Gilead Inflammation, but they're going to be almost like commercials. Sometimes we're going to pop in live. Sometimes we're just going to, have it play through. But there'll always be a countdown on those breaks, kind of like the beginning of our broadcast tonight. So next up, COVID-19, what we've learned. I've had the privilege of, let me see. Yeah, I do have a graphic on that. I have the privilege of sitting in on the session, on the recordings of these sessions. And Dr. Palma is just amazing. He's an immunologist, a microbiologist, and a rheumatologist at your place, Linda, University of Rochester, right? I work
with him. Yeah. He looks like a young kid, but he is so smart.
Yeah. And Monica Richie, former board member of the RNS, just an amazing nurse practitioner. And she shares a lot about, her experience firsthand, because she's in Manhattan, right? And dealing with it firsthand. And I'm sure you've been in touch with her some on that, Linda, right?
Yeah, I've talked to her. I don't know if you have Carrie. She was actually deployed to work as most all nurses, I think, were deployed during COVID. And so I'm sure I've talked to her. I know she's got some interesting stories she'll share. I know Chris has got a lot of great stories, and he's actively involved in lots of our research going on at U of R.
Yeah, he was sharing, I think it was before the call we had a chance to talk, that he's actually working with or around some of the vaccines, right?
Yep.
For COVID.
Yeah. So we've got a huge vaccine presence going on. I just signed up for one. We'll see.
Oh, good. Cool. Good.
So then we have our very own Cathy Patty-Resk. She's going to be presenting on exploring the diagnosis and treatment of TMJ. And I'm not going to try to say it, but you can say it, Linda, right? Temporal...
That's why we call it TMJ.
We call it TMJ, transmandibular, yeah.
Gotcha. And then there's this
function right here.
That's right. Makes you want to crack your jaw, right? So
and it's something they really see a lot in the children, so that should be great.
It's going to be awesome. And then we have Miss Carrie Beach up next. And I don't even have to put her picture up, but because we have one, we will. So we have Carrie Beach. So Carrie, give us a sneak peek about defining the culture of reporting errors and almost misses.
Can you say that again? No, I'm just kidding. That's a really long title. I loved doing the research for this presentation, but basically just, talk about safety, reporting errors, why it's important to speak up. I thought it was exciting, so hopefully you all will too.
Awesome. And if you guys are just joining us, the RNS COVID-19 Virtual Town Hall is being pivoted into the RNS Virtual Town Hall. We are going to continue addressing COVID, and we're going to continue discussing it, but we really felt that this is an opportunity to share with you a lot of the other news and information relative to rheumatology nurses and advanced practice providers. So thank you for joining us tonight if you're just hopping on. So tonight we're also going through our conference, and we're kind of going through just like day by day what the experience is going to be like, and some of our speakers, and some of these is the first time that you will know that this is a speaker. We have some marketing going out, but this is a little bit of a speaker reveal coming up here in 2 speakers, so you don't want to miss that. So next up, we have the next day, Friday, and we're ending every day around 4:20, 4:30, 5 o'clock. We're trying to keep it to where all of our colleagues and friends on the Pacific time and Eastern time, they all have a chance to log in and be a part of this. And that's why we're also starting at 11 a.m., not only because I'm not necessarily a morning person, but that way it's easier again for our Pacific Coast. Oh, I forgot something. We have 1 hour, let me pull this up. So 1 hour before each day, we're starting the countdown. And so you can, when you log in, you'll be able to log in an hour early and just let it play in the background. And we're going to start your day with one of our other favorite things is yoga.
I love that.
So Julie Conrad, we just got finished, working with her, and so each day, including the first night, there is going to be roughly a 30-minute yoga session, and she does an amazing job, with yoga. And so for years, if you've come to our conference, we've had yoga in the morning every morning. I can't attest to that firsthand because it was at 6:30 in the morning, but.
I've gone to them. They're great. And Julie does a great job.
Yeah. Julie's awesome. She is so awesome.
That's amazing. I didn't know we were doing that, Kevin. I'm excited about that. This is going to be fun. I don't know how you're pulling it off, but this is going to be a great time.
Yeah. And that one, I believe the sponsorship, and forgive me if I'm wrong, I think it's UCB sponsored, a wellness sponsorship that allowed that to happen. And so, each day. I know, right? And then what we're also going to be doing is after yoga, it's almost going to be kind of like a little bit of a morning show, if you will. We'll be kind of showcasing some of the highlights of the day and so forth, just getting some updates here. Yeah. So, forgot to mention, so Paint a Picture, the way that we were able to send that box out with the easel and everything in it is, I mentioned, sponsored by Gilead Inflammatory. So, I have to say the industry has done an amazing job coming in and supporting not just our RNS, but all of the organizations like NORM and ACR and everyone, we're all doing this together, right? And they're learning too, and they're kind of, having a hard time adapting with legal and regulatory and everything else. So up next, another great topic, inflammatory eye disease. We have Dr. Alvin Wells doing demystifying the diagnosis and treatment of inflammatory eye disease. And Linda, you and I had an opportunity to hang out with Dr. Wells in Amsterdam, right?
We did. Yeah. He's a great character, but this talk, he gave it when we were at in February. Where were we in February?
RWCS?
Maui. Thank you. It feels like it was 2 years ago. Honestly, I can't remember. It doesn't even feel like it was just a few months ago. He gave this talk, and I guarantee you guys are going to love this because I feel like inflammatory eye disease is a scary thing when it comes into the office, and we all have to manage it and know about it. And he just broke it down, and he just did a phenomenal job, and I'm so grateful. I think when we asked him to do it and we were going to be live, he wasn't available. I think child's birthday, something was going on around that time. So not that COVID's a great thing, but I'm happy we were able to get him.
No, for sure.
Virtually.
And he's, I'm not a physician, I'm not a nurse, I'm an honorary nurse, but he teaches in a way that is like it's deep science, but he's so relatable.
Yeah. Very understandable.
So thankful that he's going to be here.
Don't be afraid because it's an eye disease and you're not comfortable with the eyes or whatever. He will make you understand this, and you'll come away definitely picking up some things that you just didn't realize that, it'll help your practice.
For sure. Hey, Karen.
Karen.
Thanks for joining us tonight.
Hey, Karen.
So here's the one that I'm not even sure if you and Carrie, Linda, know that this is what we have.
I mean, we don't know a lot. We're getting all kinds of surprises thrown at us tonight.
Well, everything's been,
exciting.
The team's been scrambling, big time. And
They're not sleeping anymore.
no. And when you put together, RNS is an ANCC accredited provider of education with distinction. And that with distinction piece puts a lot of pressure on our entire team, our lead nurse planner, Kim Jeremy, the board, the conference planning committee, to make sure that our quality of education is unwavering. And so when you do that, every time, it's not just, hey, throw some slides together or, pull something up or redo this talk. We have a rigorous review process, making sure that the best evidence-based practice is recognized and the evidence-based education is executed. And so I'm just super proud of our team, the board, and everyone else. So coming up next, current treatment guidelines and trends on RA with our friend, Dr. Jack Bush.
I saw this on Facebook pop up on my Facebook feed. Yep. I'm so excited. Everybody loves Dr. Kush.
Oh
It's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Good job, team.
Also make things relatable, and I always pick up a nugget of stuff that you just continue to use every day in practice.
Yeah. For sure. And Dr. Kush, he also is the publisher of Rheum Now. I mean, he has a great pulse on everything coming out with rheumatology. And one of the things that I think we all appreciate about him is during Nurses Month and Nurses Week, he wrote a beautiful article about nurses and nurse practitioners and his nurse and the role of the nurse. He gets us. He gets RNS, and we just so appreciate him. And hey, Cathy.
Hey,
how you
Cathy.
doing? Cathy says, hi team, so excited about this virtual conference. It's going to be so amazing. Yes, actually it is. And Cathy is presenting, and we have such a great blend. We have amazing experts and thought leaders and KOLs on the board, but also the RNS has done such a great job of networking and expanding, and we just have so many different presenters here. It's just awesome. All right, so next up and this is something where I think this topic, I know that Cathy has kind of trained me that this is not just a kids topic. This is not just a peds topic. This is not something that the adult rheumatologists and the adult nurses and APPs should ignore, but SOJIA, systemic onset juvenile idiopathic arthritis. I keep hearing Cathy say over. Hey. I keep hearing Cathy say over and over that these patients will be your patients one day, adult, pediatric adult rheumatologists. So there she is, Cathy. She couldn't join us tonight online, she says, haha. Whoops, haha. We're so glad we had some surprises for everyone. Awesome. Thanks, Cathy. So after that, we have a product theater sponsored by Novartis. Novartis has been an amazing partner of RNS, and so we are looking forward to that. Some of these product theaters, we'll be announcing presenters and topics here shortly, but we have some really fun presenters. I'm hearing many of them will be very familiar faces with you. So next up, we have a great panel coming up. Again, I got an opportunity to meet a lot of the panelists. So let me just drop this in. So we're navigating the convergence of dermatology, GI, and rheum. Gastroenterology, I can say it, but no, GI and rheum. And we have Cameron Mackey, our own Cathy Patty-Resk, and Jennifer Tinkler. And it's really fascinating on this topic. And this is something that I've heard a lot from the business side and the education side of things. But what are you, Linda and Carrie, hearing out there as far as the importance of this?
Oh, it's absolutely.
Yeah, there's so much overlap, and I always want to know more about derm and GI because our patients are asking us, so there's definitely a need for this education.
Yeah,
and it's because a lot of the biologics are shared, right? And there's plenty of comorbidity mesh between the three topics. We did a study. Goodness, it must have been 5 years ago with the Dermatology Nurses Association. And it was an educational effort to where we sent out a survey to the dermatology nurses and to the room nurses, asking them, things like, your familiarity and comfort with methotrexate versus biologic therapies versus this, and where's your comfort level and knowledge and expertise in skin diagnosis and physical manifestations. And it was really amazing. It's like a Captain Obvious survey, because dermatology or skin experts, rheumatology or biologic experts, but it really kind of started the earlier conversation of hey, how do we blend these educational systems to where we're covering all three specialties. And so super excited about that panel coming up. We have more refreshment breaks with Gilead that go through, and all of this also is on our website. You can go to rnsnurse.org, and right there on the homepage you can click on annual conference and just pop right into this. And also registration's like super inexpensive. I think right now if you're a member it's $99, and if you look around you probably find some discounts for it. And you're getting like conference in the box, you're getting paint a picture. I mean, the paint a picture kit by itself is probably a good chunk of that registration fee. So definitely you want to register for this. So next up, we have advocating for your right to practice to your full scope. And again, I'm spoiled because I got the sneak peek at some of these when we were doing the recording sessions. But we have Tay Kopanas. Help me out.
Sounds good. Kopanas. I think that's right. I'm sure she'll tell us how to pronounce it correctly.
So Tay she's actually, she works with the American Association of Nurse Practitioners, and she is a policy expert there. And she is going to be sharing with us on how to advocate for your full scope of practice for the nurse and the nurse practitioner. And we have some unique times right now to where, because of some of the executive orders, some of the licensure restrictions have been lifted, right? And I'm not an expert on this, but you two probably know a little bit more about this.
Right. I can order things for people who are out of state if I'm doing some. So some of my people got stuck in Florida, and my snowbirds.
Right.
But actually, there were where I could actually take care of them, even though they're still in Florida, prescribed. And so telemedicine across the lines, which I know Cathy has been advocating for a long time. But some of those restrictions have been lifted, and we hope they'll continue after this. But whatever the new norm is when we're all done with all this. So. There's always going to be a flavor of COVID, isn't there, in all of this?
Yep. And it's, and Tay kind of touches on, and I won't spoil everything, but what can we do to advocate? Because if the physicians, if the legislative bodies observe right now, we need nurses everywhere. There were nurses from Florida going to New York. Now there's New York nurses coming to Florida, and why should we retreat back into a restrictive environment when we have the evidence now of this positive environment? And Cathy says, oh yeah, baby, COVID-19 is hitting a home run for full scope of practice and new life.
Tonight, baseball opens.
Yep. New licensing laws for nurses and nurse practitioners. Yeah. And Tay's an expert on that, and she shares some of her knowledge on that. And she also gives some real practical steps on how you can go and advocate and be a voice. And there's probably no better time and no more critical time than today to now to be that voice and to get to know your representatives on the state and federal level and get to know them, meet them, and interact with them. And she unpacks how to do that. So we're super excited about her coming. So next up, another one of our friends is Miss Heidi Bircher. She is a chapter leader with us. She's from California, and she has this amazing session on symptoms, causes, and treatment of autoimmune hepatitis. So that's it's
great.
Yeah, that's a unique one. Have you guys ever seen autoimmune hepatitis?
I have several patients, with autoimmune hepatitis.
Wow. And I'm not an expert, so it's hepatitis, but it's autoimmune hepatitis, right? So it's like a...
Right, it's not something from cirrhosis or a virus, like Hep B or Hep C or whatever. It's immune.
That
still
sounds...
carries stigma with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That just sounds rough. All the diseases that you guys treat, I mean, you gotta... I think you and cancer are right up with each other. So more refreshment breaks, but then Friday night we have a very special time. We're going to have the President's Social Hour and Awards. So Cathy, it's her social hour, and what we do every year at the conference is we have our Friday night President's Dinner. And of course, we're not at the conference, but we still want to preserve this. There's a lot of very special people, special nurses out there that need to be recognized. And they've done some extraordinary things. We have, I think the nominations are still open for Nurse of the Year, which is our leadership and excellence, piece. But yeah, Nurse of the Year. And then we also have, I don't know if you may not know this, you guys know this, but anyone watching, we actually have scholarships that we offer on our for our website. So if you go to the website, you can find out all types of great things, about scholarships. So anyways, so we have the President's Dinner. We're going to have a lot of awards. We're going to have a lot of recognition. We're going to look back at the year. I don't want to spoil all the surprises, but it's going to be one of those moments where you want to go pour yourself your drink of choice and come and join us. For sure. So Saturday morning. So see, it feels like a conference, right? It is a conference. Periodic fever syndromes for pediatrics and adults. So what is pediatric fever, guys?
The fever the kids get.
Right.
And so do adults.
See?
You can transition to adults, actually.
And we're going to learn a lot more about this on Saturday morning. So
That's right. Just
after.
Again, it's one of those things I've only seen once in an adult.
I've seen it.
And it's far more common in children, but as Cathy, if she were here, and she'll probably pop up here in a second with a message, would say, this is something not just in the adult world. So it's great that we're, like I said, I've seen it once in one of my, that doesn't mean it's not more often in our practice. It's just what I've run into.
Yeah. And it's, I think that's one of the great things that some of the culture that Cathy has brought in is, as president, she's been great at navigating dominantly adult rheumatology education is produced, because that's where all the therapies, that's where all of the, understanding is, and even proportion of population. However, she's really kind of opened our eyes of how many of these, the pediatric conditions affect, they move into adulthood. And I think, just from, oh my, what did she say? Oh, OMG, I have so much work to do with you on adult hermes, right?
But we've come a long way, Cathy. We've come so far. I even led in the beginning talking about the pediatrics.
That's right. So yeah, so it's for pediatrics and adults. Don't want to miss that session. Next up, this is going to be a very unique session. This is our own, Barbara Kinzel. She is a BSN RN, and she is doing rheumatology in pictures. And this is all unique case studies that she's going to be doing. So she kind of pulls up a picture and she talks through the case study and story behind it. And it's almost, goodness, what was that show to where it was kind of like a Paul Harvey type of approach to things, to where you don't really know what the case is until the end, and then she kind of does a lot of reveal for you. So it's going to be a great session. We then, of course, have a product theater by BMS. And then, Linda, you have a nice big session here. So learn the difference between axial spondyloarthritis and non-radiographic axial spondyloarthritis. I want to say spondyloarthropy, but spondyloarthritis.
AxSpa or
AxSpa.
not AxSpa.
Right.
That's so much easier.
So tell us about your session.
Well, it's something I guess because who I've worked with over the years, but wow, I looked a lot younger back then. Spondyloarthritis affects a much younger population. Some of them, I dare say, even when they're in high school, so you could consider them pediatrics, but they're just not identified. And women especially have not been identified with AxSpa. So non-radiographic AxSpa has really opened up the world for many of us. And we just got to keep bringing this out there and educating people. So many people are not diagnosed for 8 to 10 years and from time of onset of symptoms. So, and people can be really ill, and I've seen some patients pretty badly fused over the years. So.
We heard earlier today some hot news about that. Is one of the issues with diagnosis of AxSpa and non-radiographic AxSpa is there's not been ICD-10 codes, right, for that. And so I know a group of people for 2 years now have been working on getting ICD-10 codes approved, and this morning we got news that they got approved. Did y'all hear that?
Oh, wow. Yeah. No, I didn't hear that. I've been not been on that. Wow, that's great.
So
Do you know what the code is?
I can get it to you.
I don't know if it said on there or not, but I saw that as well.
Awesome.
Wow, that's great. No, I haven't really. I had grandkids today.
No worries. There's Kathy. She said, can't wait for room and pics with Barb. Yep, absolutely. And then, now this is where you adult roomies have really helped us peds. Yep. Awesome. Well, as we start wrapping up, going through the conference here, Linda, you're up next. Again, you have empowering people.
Sick of me.
No. Empowering people living with lupus and lupus nephritis through self-management support. So tell us about your session.
Yeah, this is a great resource. So it was a research project. I had the pleasure of working with the ACR Research Foundation, and was able to work with them and to develop some materials that we can use. And now more than ever, we need patients to take care of themselves and family members, and where are the resources, and there's a wealth of information out there that I'll be able to share with you guys. And I gotta say, I think ACR through grant funding did an amazing job with the resources they have that any lupus patient can go out and use, and anybody, whether it's a school nurse, a pediatric nurse. They had even a transition, Kathy, I know you're listening, for school nurses to help the kids transition as they transition to adulthood and college. So pretty exciting.
Awesome. And that's the annual conference. And
I can't wait to go.
I know, right? So we're still working on some surprises and other things to, we just really want to make it, we're not there in person, but hopefully by when you register and you receive your painted picture in a box and your conference in a box, hopefully you'll feel a little bit of a connection there. We're going to be working on some things with engagement, trying to get you to give us feedback, sending us pictures that will show on screen, and really kind of work it back and forth. And we really believe it's going to be an amazing event. And so if you haven't registered, again, there's limited quantities on Conference on the Box and on the Paint-A-Picture boxes. We didn't go out and buy a ton of them. We bought what we thought would be adequate. And they're going pretty quick. So definitely register. It's very inexpensive. Again, go to rnsnurse.org and you can find everything there. So, looking forward to the annual conference. You guys got anything else? Oh, Heidi, here's one of our presenters. Thanks for the shout out. Looking forward to seeing you all at the virtual conference. Thanks, Heidi. We so appreciate you being a part of us. And then let's see.
Thanks for watching tonight.
That's right. And Kathy, I'm going to break out that bottle of GIK wine from Spain for President's Dinner. Woohoo! Is that the blue wine?
Is that the blue wine, Kathy? I can't drink that. It was like Kool-Aid. It was like drinking the Kool-Aid.
Awesome. Well, Linda, Carrie, it's been a great time. And do you guys have any closing thoughts or comments?
No, I'm just really, really excited. I know it's going to look a lot different, but I'm excited for all the little surprises you guys have come up with. You guys have done a great job. So thank you, Lyons.
Oh, thanks. You guys are a huge part of all the planning, and you give us the runway to have fun with it. So.
And thanks for having the vision so early on, right? I think we were one of the first conferences that just decided virtual was the way to go. And thank goodness that you were able to get this up and going. And it's going to be such a spectacular event. So, and awesome. Vicki Lyons, shout out to Vicki Lyons. I know her handiwork is in a lot of this. So love you, Vicki, and thank you. Because I know nobody knows Vicki Lyons. That's Kevin's wife and the artist behind him. She does a phenomenal job and helps with all the surprises and making things look beautiful.
Absolutely. She's had her share of experiences on the receiving end from a nurse, and that comes through in all of her passion and the giving end for sure. And Kathy did confirm, yes, it is the blue wine. And Karen says, does that blue wine come in the conference in the box? Well, Karen, we were seriously trying to come up with some way of putting together food and for snacks and breakouts and sneaking some type of bottle of wine or something in there. And honestly, with everything in COVID, everything with allergens and everything else, we're like, how do we know? I mean, we would have to have so many different choices. And so we just decided, why don't we take those funds and put those in some amazing prizes? So I mean, we're going to be giving away some really nice prizes, for engagement. And yes, Karen, we're looking forward to it too. It's going to be awful not seeing everyone in person, but hey, thanks, Cathy. Way to go, team. It's going to be great. And hey, look at this beautiful woman. That's my wife, Vicki. Hi, guys.
Vicki.
Hey, Vicki. I'll be downstairs in just a little bit. And yeah, thanks, Cathy. She's a lot more than my better half. I'll just say that. Love, and Cathy saying, come on over, Karen. We'll have a conference party on the patio. Social distancing, though.
A social distancing, don't forget.
That's right. Well, awesome. Well, we're definitely looking forward to this event. Definitely go to the website, check it out. And also, the new town hall format, leave us some comments if you're maybe catching the replay of this. COVID's incredibly important to the RNS and will continue to be important to the RNS, but we just really wanted to open up the dialogue. It won't always be like tonight where we're going through conference. We might be showcasing some of our educational offerings. We might be showcasing some news stories and events that are coming up, going on, in rheumatology, like the ICD-10 codes and so forth. So give us your ideas. What would you like to hear? And we'll have different guests and stuff coming on. So stay tuned for this. We probably will also have this on Thursday night at conference night or conference week. So we're looking at doing something unique there on maybe some reporting of conference as well. Well, great. Well, it's been a great evening. It's so good to see you, Carrie and Linda. We haven't seen each other in, goodness, a long time. We've all traveled a lot together. So awesome. Well, thank you all, and you all have a great night. Good night, everyone.
Bye,
Good night,
guys.
everyone. Can't wait to see you in a couple weeks.
Yay.
Oh, one last one.
What about?
Cathy, thank you, Vicki, for all you do for the RNS. You're the best. I agree, Cathy. She is. Awesome. Well, thank you all. Good night.
Night.